Hello folks, Abfielder here with another Minecraft tutorial, and today it's on a bamboo and or sugarcane farm. And if you don't want to hear me waffle on for a couple of minutes, the timestamp for when the tutorial starts will be down in the description as always. And if you've stuck with me, I appreciate that. The first thing I want to ask is please consider subscribing to the channel. I think something like 90% of my video views are from people that are not subscribed to my channel. It means you're watching my content and you're watching a few minutes of it. Maybe you're enjoying it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit that like button as well. Okay, so going into the farm. Why did I design this farm? Well, it's very similar to some other farms that you may have seen. You may be thinking that right now. So what's the advantages of this design? Because it is a little bit more complex than I normally do. Well, the main advantage of this design is you can turn it off. And I think that's quite an important thing for servers when you're trying to be a good Minecrafter. You're trying to keep server lag to a minimum so everyone can enjoy the server that they're playing on. You probably don't want this thing running all the time. It's probably going to give you way more resources than you need unless you happen to be playing on some sort of technical server or what have you. So yeah, I wanted to be able to turn this off, and when I say turn it off, I wanted to be able to stop the flying machine from running, and I wanted to stop the minecarts from being able to run. And that's what this design really goes for. The other thing is you could stack it if you wanted. It's easier if it's sugarcane to stack. Generally speaking, I'd just build another module to the side of this thing and you could do that. But like I say, there you go. You flick one lever, the minecarts, when they return to their stations, will stay there. The flying machine, which is currently down the other end, when that gets set off by the observers, it will head up to this return station and it will stop until you flick the lever again. So you might lose a little bit of resources with it. It'll take one turn before it's off. But yeah, it turns it off until you're ready to turn it back on. As always with my designs, I've put some water streams and dispensers and stuff on this one, but that's just a suggestion. How you do storage is completely up to you. As you can see, I have set this one up for bamboo and sugarcane, just to demonstrate that it can do both. I personally would probably do just one and then do a second module for the other one, but like I say, completely up to you guys. You can make it thinner, you cannot make it wider. The flying machine is at its limit. You would have to build a whole new module to make it wider, a whole new flying machine. You can make it longer. If you make it longer though, you're going to risk items despawning. So the other thing I tried to do here was not have too many minecarts running. So there are 2 minecarts under this. They each cover a width of 10, and the length of this, or the spawning sort of length, is 30 blocks. So particularly for bamboo, it's pretty much on the limit of what it'll collect before items could start despawning. It is not 100% lossless when it's bamboo, and I'm not sure any farm is when it comes to bamboo, because when the pistons or the flying machines break the bamboo, there is a chance that they can sit on top of the remaining stem. It means you can lose a little bit of bamboo, but that's design flaw. That's something you'll have with pretty much every bamboo farm design you got out there. Should be 100% lossless when it is sugarcane. In terms of resources, I mean, you're going to need some slime blocks obviously for the flying machine. You're going to need a couple of observers, repeaters, 2 sticky pistons, and you're going to need a whole bunch of track. Now, I'm going to show you how to build it where you use the minimum amount of powered rails, but you're going to need a fair amount of normal rails, whatever. But again, that's going to be the same for any design of these type of farms. They are expensive in one resource or another, either pistons or rails. It's, you know, whichever one you've got more of, that's the design you should go for, in my opinion. To be honest with you though, it's not that hard to find a slime chunk. It won't take you that long, even if you just build one layer of a slime farm. That'll take you an hour or something to get that many slime blocks. It's not going to take you long at all. And the rest, a fairly quick mining session will get you. The glass is optional, just put it because it looks nice, makes it look okay on the tutorial. As you can see, I've been playing with the design of this farm for a few weeks. You can see my earlier efforts on the left of the screen there. But anyway, I think that's enough of me waffling on. I think it is absolutely time to jump into the tutorial. Okay, and first off, how big is this farm? Well, it's 47 long and it is 25 blocks wide. You can, as I mentioned, change the dimensions of this farm. If you don't need it as long or you don't need it as wide, you can shrink it down a bit. But for the purposes of this tutorial, that is how big I am building it. 47 long, 25 wide. Feel free to pause the video if you are digging out the area in your world, and we'll continue when you're back. Okay, so you want to count in 8 blocks off one of the long sides and then go in 1 on the short side like so. And then you want to bring that wall all the way down. It also needs to be too high. The wall will end up being 39 blocks long if you're building it to my dimensions. Like so, and then you want to come across, you want to end up one short of the total length, so it should look like that. Again, you can always pause this if you need to count it out. Hopefully those blue and white blocks are clear enough for you. And then as you can see, we're going to do the wall now, and we need to end two short on the left hand side. That will make this wall 22 blocks wide. So that was 22. And like I say, you'll end up 2 blocks short of the width of this thing, and that's because the collection system sticks out just a little bit at that one end. So once you've got that, you can just go ahead and do the remaining 2 sides. Like I say, this needs to be too high, so if you are digging this out and sinking it into the ground, dig down 2 blocks and you'll get the desired effect. Alright, and then we can just stick this final wall in. Okay, and then we're going to do the rails next. So we're going to actually punch out a hole on either side of this farm, one there, and the same on the corresponding side. That's so your rails can get in and out your farm to the collection systems. So go ahead, make it too high. It'll look like this when you're done. If you're putting it above the ground, like say if you sink it in the ground, then dig a hole too deep. Okay, pause it if you need to again, and hopefully you can see those blue and white blocks. I'll just go hopefully to a slightly better angle, and you can pause the video if you need to. There you go, and we'll do the rails next. First off, I just want to talk about how we're going to power them. So in the tutorial, I am going to use a redstone block. Now if you want to make this a little bit cheaper, you can use a redstone torch. Just punch down 2 blocks, not 3 blocks, 2 blocks. I'll just put that one back. Place in your redstone torch. Place your normal block back in over the top, and then place your powered rail, and it is powered. But just for the ease of this tutorial and showing you how I am powering them, I'm going to be using the redstone block method. Okay, so the main thing that's important with the redstone is we want enough that it doesn't stop the minecart, and also we want to make sure we get these end ones right. So for the 2 ends, come in 1 block. You don't want them on the very edge block, because then you can't play, well, you can place your normal rails. There's just no point, basically. You're going to need normal rails so that your minecart can come back around the corner. We're going to split this into 2. What I'm doing here is I'm counting about 10 blocks between each redstone line, and that will give me enough power for the minecart to get down to one end and back again. The only thing with this is it does mean you'll end up with a slightly uneven bunch of lines because it doesn't split evenly, but it'll work. Okay, you can experiment with this stage if you want. You haven't got to do it every 10. You can probably get away with every 11 or 12. Just experiment, and if you happen to be gold rich and redstone rich, then you can use all powered rails. And when you're done, you're going to end up with something like this. Like I say, go ahead and all times like this, I try and hover over it so you can pause the video and just copy what I'm doing. I hope that works well for you. We're going to do the rails next. Okay, get your powered rails and your normal rails, and for the first 3 blocks where you're coming in from the entrance, make those all powered. That will help with your collection system, and then you just want powered rails on the powered blocks. Like I say, if you have got a gold farm at this point, nothing stopping you using completely powered rails, making the minecart go a bit quicker. But this is how I'd place them in, so you go all the way down to the bottom. You can place in your redstone on the next line when you're ready to go, like that, and get your unpowered one, bring it around the corner like that, all the way up to the top, and then just continue that pattern back and forth. So you wanted this to be 10 wide, so you've got 2 minecarts going on this thing. They're both going to be 10 wide if you're building it to the specs that I have, and they're going to end up back at this end that I am now, and then they'll bounce back and go to the collection system. So I'm just going to speed this up, and then I will hover over the top at the end like I always do, so you can see how it looks. Okay, and now you should be done with one side of this, and as you can see, I've just marked the center block with the blue concrete there, and you don't turn the corner there, you just put another powered rail in. And if you need to go and pause the video to do this, then you can do so now. The other thing you need to go ahead and do is mirror this and do it for the other side. It is exactly the same, just completely and utterly mirrored, so go ahead and do that now as well. And when you're done, it's going to look like this screen below, and as always, pause the video if you need to and just copy this. Main thing to know is the powered rails up by the blue concrete, they do not connect together, so when those two minecarts hit that spot, they just bounce back and head towards their own respective collection zones. Okay, now we want to do the collection system. You can see I've got a hopper minecart encased in glass, got some powered rail and detector rail going up there. So we're going to do that now, so come out and leave a one gap like so, and then go up two like that, and it will match what we've got over there. Now we want to put in some hoppers, and I'm going to put in 4 hoppers for now, and I'm going to do this with the dropper system, dropping stuff into a water stream. So place your hoppers like that, with everything pointing into that temporary 4th one that we had there, so it'll look like that. Okay, and then we want to put some powered rail on there and a block of wall on there. These are temporary. Place your hopper minecart on there, and then you want to nudge it as far as you can into that piece of wall. And what you can see is the hopper is kind of over that second hopper part of the minecart, is over that second hopper. When you go like that, break the wall, break the rail, and then place in your glass blocks like so. Then these 4 are temporary. Knock out those 2. Come down underneath like that and place in a piston. You only need 1 piston to do this, and then you just want to power in that piston like so, and that will safely encase your minecart, and then when stuff drops into it, it will be feeding both of those hoppers like so. Okay, next we want to continue our powered rail up to here and onto the first piece of glass, and then we want our detector rail. And I'm sure you noticed, but the detector rail was on a slope, so to do that we place a temporary block there, punch that out. Then we place a temporary bit of rail here, so we get this going up like so. Knock out the temporary rail, and then place your second block like so. And that is the collection system half done. We've now got the redstone parts to do so that we can turn this thing off and on. Alright, and then we want to place a block in next to the glass. Then we want a temporary block and go up 1, temporary block and go up 1, so you have that pattern. Then another temporary block and come out 1 like that as well. So you have this diagonal pattern going up, and then you come out 1 block across the rail. Hopefully you can see that and pause it and what have you. Okay, next to the rail, place your comparator going into that first block, and then a redstone torch. And then you want to place a repeater on 1 tick. Let me just double check that. Yes, 1 tick like so. And then you want 2 pieces of redstone, and then get your gate and place your gate just above the rails like that. It will be open at the moment. That gate will close when you turn it off and you want to stop the minecart, or when it's dispensing items into the trapped minecart. I'll give you a couple of angles here so you can pause it if you need to and just replicate this design. You're going to do the same for the second system over on the right hand side as well, of course. And this bit is optional. If you just want to carry on the hopper line, you can do. You don't have to put it into a dropper, but I'm going to show you how to put it into a dropper. So you'd have a dropper facing outwards, a comparator coming out the side into a block, place a redstone torch on top of there, and then get your sticky piston. You want to place that on, it's a little bit tricky, but you want to place it on the, not like that, you want to place it on the redstone torch like that. There you go, and it'll automatically extend. Alright, and then you need to get an observer and have your observer on that sticky piston facing towards you there, and then come back round and just on the arm place one going in back towards the dropper like so. And then if you put some items in here, let's get some sandstone blocks and put them in the dropper, the piston will retract, and then the circuit will rapidly fire your items into your water stream. Like I say, if you don't want to do that, you could just use hoppers instead. That'll save you a couple of observers, sticky pistons, and then you just need to mirror this whole thing on the other side so you have your 2 collection systems. And when you're done, you'll have your 2 collection systems like so. I've tried to give you a decent enough angle there that you can again pause it if you need to. But anyway, with your collection systems done, we can now go on to doing the bamboo stroke sugarcane platform over the top of the rails. You can also at this point, if you want, place in your hopper minecarts. You can also wait till the end. Okay, then the platform come in 4 more blocks. I'm using cut sandstone just so you can see the difference between the dirt and what have you, but you can use dirt, just don't plant up 4 blocks at that end. At the opposite end you want to place 3 blocks in like I've done here and not plant anything up. So like I say, you can use dirt, but I'm just using different blocks to differentiate it. Last thing you can't plant up on this design is the center, because you don't want to break the fly machine, so just bring those 2 blocks all the way down. Everything else can be dirt. If you're doing sugarcane, you are going to need water sources, so you can just slab the bottom half and then place in your water source so it doesn't drop on the tracks. I'm going to do the rest off camera. When you're done, it's going to look like that, and then the next step, we're going to go ahead and put in the first level of the wall. So I'm using green glass, but you can use any building block of your choice, and just go ahead and make it 1 high all around the outer edge of the farm. And it's going to look like this when you're done, and then we're going to go ahead and start the flying machine finally. Okay, come down to the end that's opposite to your collection system. And you can see I've got the redstone lamp, button, slime, observer, obsidian, and sticky piston and slime blocks. Anyway, on the left hand side, place in your lamp, place the observer facing towards you, then the slime block. Then you want to place in 2 temporary blocks, break out the first one, placing the sticky piston towards you. Then you've got that pattern there. Big tip for you now, definitely place the observer block next, otherwise you're going to set off your flying machine and it's going to go and you're going to have to stop it and rebuild it. Place your obsidian next to the observer, place a sticky piston towards you, then the slime block, then 2 temporary blocks like so, then place in the observer, and it's when you place or when you break the temporary block that it would set off that flying machine. Then get your slime blocks and come out off the side of your slime block here like so. At the end, change that for just a building block of your choice, just so the slime isn't touching the glass walls, otherwise you're going to have to put immovable objects all the way down the side there. Oops, not glass. Same on this side, slime blocks, but on the last one, just place something like a glass block. Like I say, it just saves you having to use something like leaf blocks on the side there. And then this is how it will look when you are done. And that's your flying machine. One extra thing you can do here is just place a button on the lamp, and that's just if you want to set the flying machine off manually for whatever reason. Maybe the observers haven't fired, I don't know, some weird chunk loading thing. Yeah, just stick a button on there. You don't have to, but it means you can set it running. Okay, come down the opposite end of the farm, and we're going to use some more obsidian, a repeater, a observer, and a redstone torch. Placing the obsidian on the right hand side there, and then come up one and place in another obsidian block so it looks like that. Come in, and then underneath place in your redstone torch, and then you want to place a repeater facing away from the obsidian block and put that on 4 ticks. Really important that you put it on the 4 ticks. Okay, then place in a couple of temporary blocks, and then off the back of this one place an observer facing that way. So it's going to look like that with the redstone torch powered. Now what we're going to do is put a temporary lever in place. We will get rid of this later on, but then just power the lever so that the redstone torch goes off like that. Your system is armed. This will allow you to test that your flying machine and return station work. Hit that button that we placed in earlier, and away the flying machine goes. Isn't that a beautiful sight? We're getting pretty close to the end now, folks. It feels like it's been a long tutorial. But anyway, this thing's going to get up to the end. Because we've got that lever and we've powered the redstone lamp on, the return station will fire a signal in, and away it goes back to the other end, where it'll stop until you hit the button again or until we place the observers in. Nice simple job next. Go in and make your wall 2 high all the way around the farm so it looks like this. Okay, next we want to detect the growth of the sugarcane or the bamboo. So I'm going to place in 2 observers on the 3rd level, like so. You can use 1 observer, but if you're doing bamboo in particular, I recommend 2. Otherwise, you can get some slow-growing pieces of bamboo. Just knock out a couple of pieces of glass here so you can bring this redstone line into the torch, or to the lamp rather, like this. And then you're probably going to want to place just a couple of immovable blocks. So I'm just using leaf blocks here, and that's just so nothing gets through that gap. Then you want to run a redstone line around like that. Just drop in a repeater. Just change that repeater up to 2 ticks like that. Nearly forgot to do it myself there. Then you've got your signal into your lamp, and you can test that if you want. Just place a block in front of one of the observers. That'll detect the change and fire off your fly machine, and then it'll come back like so. Okay, back up at the end with the collection system and knock out that lever and come off 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. On the third block, place another one and then get your redstone torch, a bit of dust, and then a repeater facing into the obsidian like so. And then on this block at the end, place a lever, 2 bits of redstone dust, and all that's doing is inverting the signal so that you are turning off the return station, and also we can then feed this signal into the collection system. So we need to feed it into that repeater over there. So leave the gap like so, and then you want to make sure you just got enough room to maneuver. Bring it round to the repeater like that. We're going to place a repeater into that like so, and then just run a redstone line back to your lever. It'll look like that. That one's nice and easy. The one on the right hand side, like I say, is a little bit more complex, but if that's working, your gate will close and that's going to stop the minecart from leaving the station. And when you turn it back on, the gate will be open. Like I say, the right hand one's a little bit more annoying because you've got to go up and over, but sort of follow the similar pattern but come across 1 block further. So before we went off on that one, but here you want to go 1 more, and we want to go up 2 blocks like so. So we go over the rail without interfering with the cart. Then once we're on the other side, we want to come back down the 2 blocks like so, and the same as before, feed it into that repeater, put a repeater in there. The redstone signal won't quite be strong enough, so just place another repeater in there, and then bring your redstone dust up and over. They're all on 1 tick like so, and that is your mechanism to turn this farm on and off done. We're really on the home straight, folks. All we got to do is build up the walls and plant it up. Okay, bamboo's nice and simple, no water required. Just plant the whole thing up with bamboo. Make sure you get some in front of your observers. I've done 2 observers with bamboo in particular because occasionally you get a slow growing piece of bamboo. And 2 observers just means it's firing a little bit more regularly. For sugarcane, you do need water sources. So knock out your dirt block, place in a bottom half slab, then get your water and place it over the top. Then you can place your sugarcane around it, but not on the diagonal, which is why I go for the checkerboard pattern, and place in another water source like that, and then you can continue on and so forth until the whole thing is planted up. Now, if you're planting in sugarcane, you don't need to build the walls too high. With the bamboo, you might want to go a little bit higher, because if it grows a little bit too high, and some of the pieces do, then it can get stuck on top of the walls. So yeah, just build it up as high as you need to. Now, I did mention earlier on, you could stack this if you wanted. Sugarcane's easier because I don't think sugarcane cares about the light levels. Bamboo certainly does, and it's a pain because it cares about the light level at where it's growing. So if you stack it, you don't want the roof too high and you need to light the thing up like a Christmas tree. What I would honestly recommend is actually you leave it open and then you just build another module to the side. But I think, folks, that's everything you need to know about how to build this farm. I know it's been a long and fairly technical tutorial, but I hope you find the farm useful. I hope you like the fact that you can turn it off if you need to. I think that's good for servers. If you've enjoyed this video, as I said at the start, I think 90% of my views are from people that are not subscribed to the channel. Please consider subscribing, and also if you like the video, tick like. Anyway, folks, I'm Abfielder. That's all I got time for. See you later.